Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we have an awesome guest for you guys. She is a mom to an adorable 1-year-old and is an amazing knee, chest, upper cervical chiropractor. She owns the Specific Chiropractic Centers in Austin, Texas, and is super passionate about working with families, from moms to kiddos to babies. So let me introduce to you Dr. Alex Mosley.
Hello, hello.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us, Doc.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's hop right into the questions. So first of all, tell everyone where you went to school and when did you graduate?
I went to Parker University in Dallas, Texas. I'm a Texas native, so just naturally I went there. And I graduated in December of 2015. So practicing just over 7 years.
That's amazing. Time flies, honestly.
Yeah, just over 7 years. That's right. I was doing the math in my head.
I love it. So what did you do after you graduated? Did you associate? Did you open up your own practice?
Yes, I associated. So, as when you're a student, you kind of get presented with two different options. You can either be an associate or you can go straight into opening your own practice. And I have a lot of classmates and good friends who did that. And for me, I just felt like I would actually get where I wanted to go faster if I decided to associate. And so I think associateships get a really bad rap, and sometimes for good reason. I think, it definitely has to be, you have to find the right doctor to associate with. And fortunately I did. And I moved to the Bay Area in California for 4 years. The Specific Chiropractic Centers headquarters office. We have offices all around the country. And I associated there for 4 years. And then I felt ready to open up my own practice back in Texas in Austin, and opened up a Specific of my own.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what exactly made you gravitate towards knee chest when there's so many different techniques?
It's a great question. I wanted to be the type of chiropractor. I love working with families and with kids and just a lot of chaos. I really enjoy being like the calm in the storm. And so my ideal was, a mom's having a baby and you get called to go to her house or the hospital, and they give you this hours old little baby and you provide the adjustment, and that was just like the highest honor in my head I could possibly conceive. And everything I wanted to do was kind of centered around something like that. And then I had some really close classmates and friends go this one week into an upper cervical seminar. And honestly, they came back like aliens. Like they were like, we're changing everything. We're not doing any of this stuff we were talking about. We're going to do this and this only. And they were so on fire and passionate and convicted. It made me curious. I was like, what is this? What? Like what? Okay. Because every time you hear a miracle story in chiropractic, it usually involves the atlas. Right. And so we already have this like very reverence and respect for upper cervical, for what these top two bones protect, right? The brainstem and the central nervous system. And so I just had to go. I had to go check it out for myself. And I totally understood why I went. And it challenged my way of thinking in a way that I think was sorely missing in chiropractic school. And it really encompassed the philosophy, the science, and the art. And I feel like it gave me not only the philosophy of what we talk about in chiropractic school, which is, above, down, inside out. The body has the capability to heal itself. We just need to remove interference. It had the philosophy, it had the science that backed that up. And then it had the art. Every single question we asked, and they welcomed questions. They didn't get offended by questions. They were like, well, let's talk about it, and so there's intention behind everything we do. There's a reason behind everything we do with the technique that we practice. And it's a form of knee, chest, upper cervical. It's the art of the specific, upper cervical specific. And that really, I feel like it's what chiropractic school should be.
Right. So
when I went, it was just all of these things perfectly building on one another, making all the sense in the world. I was like, done. This is what we're doing now. Okay. And of course it took me a little time to like fully accept, because it was quite a change going from what I thought I wanted to do to kind of evolving into this other way of doing something while still wanting to see babies and kids and families.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's so cool how you go in thinking that you're going to do one thing, and then when you learn something, you can't unlearn it. So that just hit you in the face and you're like, this is what I need to do. I love that.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly how it went.
Mm-hmm. So why chiropractic for you? Like, what made you decide that you wanted to be a chiropractor?
I know you hear a lot like chiropractic finds you, that sort of thing. I don't have like a miracle chiropractic story. It didn't save my life. It didn't save anybody that I know, any of their lives. My parents didn't even know what a chiropractor was. I grew up in a very like Western medical family, and I originally wanted to be an OBGYN. And when I went to Baylor University for my undergrad. And when I was there, I was a junior pursuing medical school. And it just, the deeper I got into it, the more it didn't fit. So I switched to every single healthcare profession, like all the clubs, like physical therapy, physician's assistant, occupational therapy, speech pathology, like everything in healthcare. And still none of it fit. And my grandmother one day was like, her friend's son-in-law is a chiropractor. And she was like, I think he's a doctor and he's successful. Like, maybe you should go talk to him. And I did. And I actually went and shadowed him a few days during the week. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is exactly what I've been looking for, that I just haven't been able to find, because the energy was so different. People were there and they weren't necessarily feeling good, but there was hope and there was laughter and there was just more vibrancy. It wasn't a sterile waiting room where everybody was quiet and scared. And so it was kind of the process of elimination for me. And I definitely had to seek it out. But once I found it, it was definitely a light bulb moment of, I got it. Yes.
Yes. I love that. I love how everyone has their own different stories of what brought them to chiropractic. And that sounds like a beautiful story. So I know that you also have a podcast. What inspired you to create your own podcast? And do you have any suggestions for anyone that wants to create their own?
Yeah, we do. I have a podcast. I'm a co-host of a podcast. We called it You Crack Me Up. And it's me and Dr. Brandon Brown. He's my co-host. Y'all might know him from TikTok. He's the migraine doc on TikTok. And he's got like 500,000 followers or something crazy. And we decided to make a podcast together. We have connections in kind of the media world that have really helped us out, and in regards to putting it all together and getting it out there and helping us kind of go from 0 to 100, because it is one hell of a process. It's not just like sit down, record some content and do it.
Yeah.
I wish it was. And so we decided to do the podcast because you kind of have the same conversations with your patients over and over and over again, because they're all coming to you, if when you really dial in your kind of your ideal client, your marketing message, what kind of message, what you stand for, what you're putting out in the world to attract the people that want to work with you and that you want to work with, you begin to have kind of these same conversations, and you can almost create like an FAQ, right? Like a fact sheet. And so we realized not only would it help with that, because there's many people out there that need answers to these questions also, not just our patients. And there's so many things that people can do at home that really don't cost a whole lot of money to help themselves get healthy. We had all of this content and all of this knowledge. And so really it was wanting to just sit down and put that out to the world so that we could help more people, we could reach more people. And then also what we've noticed, which is kind of a bonus, is it has been really good retention for our current patients, because they tune in and they'll come to in their office visits, they'll be like, so I was listening to this episode and y'all talked about this, and that I didn't like, that blew my mind. Like that sort of thing. And so I think it makes them really dig deeper into the care that they're receiving and get more inspired to pursue health for their nervous system, whatever that looks like uniquely for them.
I love that.
And then tips for starting your own. First, see if it's something you want to do. I would say there's some people who have their own podcast and it's just them. And I would have a hard time doing that. Because you're not talking to anybody, you're just talking, right? You're having to like talk for at least 20 minutes and have your content laid out. And so it's almost like if you enjoy teaching and you definitely have to enjoy teaching. So if you've never given a workshop, if you've never spoken in front of people, if you don't like explaining things, that a podcast might be difficult. If you really like doing those things, then a podcast is probably going to feel really natural. I like having a co-host because you naturally play off of one another. Right. And so that makes it kind of fun. And for Brandon and I, what we really wanted was almost like the style of the podcast of You Crack Me Up is almost like you're getting to eavesdrop on our conversations about health. And so it's very candid. It's very raw. Our producer Garrett doesn't really edit a whole lot of stuff out. So it's called You Crack Me Up, not just because it's chiropractic, but because we generally try to make people laugh and we think we're really funny.
You are.
You're not. You think we're funny. And we make one another laugh. So hopefully it's entertaining as well as it's edutainment, we like to say.
Love that.
And so I think like step number one would just be make sure you like to teach, make sure you have, you enjoy talking. So it's almost like just like start teaching, teach a class, teach a workshop, start outlining stuff or like writing down consistent things that you feel it's important for people to know, or like consistent conversations that you have. So most people think this, but it's actually this, like things like that. Those are great podcast episodes. And so I think it's really just refining what you talk about every day and then turning it into little snippets of content, just like you would if you were posting on your social media or on your website or a blog, or whatever the case like that. So I think my biggest tip would just be start taking note of what you want to talk about and the type of person you want to reach and podcast style of whoever you want to reach. What do they like to listen to? What are those types of podcasts like? And I think that's really beneficial, really helpful too.
Yeah, those are great tips. I know it's like an up and coming thing to start your own podcast. So I know a lot of people are talking about it, and those are really great tips for people that are interested in starting their own.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad. Yeah. It's almost like when, websites used to be like the new thing. And now websites are kind of like a phone book.
Right.
Like, of course you have a website. If you don't have a website, there's something really wrong with your business. So of course you have a website. So now podcasts I feel like are kind of like the new website. It's like where people are going to get more information to make sure they know, like, and trust you before they decide to work with you. And so it can be really helpful for things like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Alex, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And I'm just excited for all the students to get to hear from you live on Thursday.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to talk to everyone.
Us too. I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, y'all too.
So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and share it with all of your friends. We really encourage you to interact with this video. So if you have any questions for Dr. Alex, make sure to drop them below so that she can respond to them. Make sure you follow her Instagram page at the specific ATX, and also listen to her podcast titled You Crack Me Up. We have our QR code here on the screen, which links to our Facebook and Instagram. So make sure to stay plugged in to those sites so that you can keep updated with the club. Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys Thursday.